Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be another declutter video. I already did complexion products and blushes, so I'll link those videos in the description box below if you guys want to check them out. And if you like declutter videos, I'm uploading a new one every other week until I get through my collection, but I have an entire declutter playlist on my channel, which I'll link in the description box below. So today I wanted to declutter all of my bronzers and highlighters. I never really feel like my bronzer and highlighter collection gets out of hand. A lot of these products are very bulky, and I do have them kind of spread out because I did have highlighters, bronzers, and blushes all in the same drawer, and then my blush collection got a little bit big, so I had to separate them. So my goal is to put them all back in the same drawer and not let that get out of hand again. So I just wanted to go through and declutter the products that I'm no longer reaching for. There are some shades in here that I just haven't used in the past year or two, and then there are some formulas that are good, but they're not necessarily my favorite go-to formulas. So I'm going to be passing these products along to my sisters, my cousins, my friends who love makeup as much as I do. Nothing will get thrown away unless it is old or expired. I shouldn't have too many old products in here, but I'll go through and let you guys know what I'm doing with the products I declutter. Ideally, I would have loved to swatch these products, but there's something going on with my camera. Every time I try to swatch something and then I zoom in on my hand, I can't get it to focus. So I am looking for a new camera just for future reference, but I'll show some close-up shots and hopefully that will be helpful for you guys. Okay, so let's just start over here right in the front. So I have this Buxom Wanderlust Glow Highlighter. I love this so much. Buxom released these last year. Actually, they only released one shade. I keep hoping they'll do additional shades because this is just one of my favorite formulas. They did the Wanderlust blushes, which were amazing, and then they did this one highlighter, which looks so pretty on the skin. In the pan, it doesn't really look too exciting, but on the skin, it looks really nice. It's a very natural finish. It has a little bit of like a pearly pink glow to it, and I just love it so much. So I am going to keep this one. I think I'm going to declutter this one. This is the NYX High Glass Illuminating Powder. So I feel like I want to like this more than I do. This is in the shade Moon Glow. This is an interesting texture. It's kind of like a little bit of a putty texture. It's not a complete cream or a powder. It kind of falls in the middle, almost like a Super Shock cheek, but it's not as creamy. So because of that, I feel like it doesn't look as good on the skin as the ColourPop Super Shock highlighters. I know some people really love this product, and it's something that in my mind, I think that I love it, but I never use it. So it is time to part with it and declutter it. So I don't have a lot of cream highlighters because while I've kind of gotten into cream blush and cream blonde, cream bronzer, cream highlighters are something that I still don't love to use as much as powder, but this product from Flower Beauty is so good. It's their Day Glow Highlighting Glaze, and I have the shade Stunner. So I think it does come in a couple of different shades. This one is so pretty. It gives your skin like that beautiful dewy glow without being too intense. So if you're someone who's intimidated by cream highlighters as well, I think you'll enjoy this one. I do like a little bit more of a natural highlight for the most part, and this looks so pretty on the skin. It's such a gorgeous product. So I'm going to hang on to this. I think other than the ColourPop Super Shock Cheeks, this is the only cream highlighter that I have in my collection right now. Oh no, I have this one from e.l.f. I'm going to keep this one too. This is the e.l.f. Jelly Pop Glow Stick. I don't know if this is still available because I think it was limited edition, but again, this is so pretty on the cheeks. So maybe I do need to try additional cream highlighters at some point. This gives your skin like a beautiful, natural, pearly glow. Every time I wear this and I look at my makeup out in the car, like in natural sunlight, I'm in love with the way that it looks. So that is definitely one of my favorites. I recently tried this. It's the Catrice More Than Glow highlighter. I have the shade Supreme Rose Beam. This is so pretty. So I do prefer more of a subtle highlight, like I said, day to day, but on days when you want a super intense highlighter, this is the one to try. It looks so gorgeous on the cheeks. So I'm going to keep this one because I do use it when I do have more of a dramatic makeup look going on. So I think it's finally time to declutter the Essence Pure Nude highlighter. I know so many people love this highlighter, and at one point I was using it a lot. Like I said, I do like something a little bit more subtle, but I don't think I've used this in like the past, I want to say year and a half, maybe even longer. It's something that I kind of hold on to because it is such a hyped up popular product, and it's something I do enjoy, but I won't say it's something that I love. I do feel like it looks, I don't know, a little bit dry on my skin, and I hate to say that because I know it has like a cult following, but it's just really not my go-to highlighter. I don't reach for it as much as some other formulas in my collection. So Sadly, I am going to part with this. It's just sitting in my collection going unused. I will say mine is pretty old. Powder products don't expire super quickly in general, but I almost wonder if that one has expired because I do feel like it's so dry on my skin when I use it, and I haven't used it for like a year and a half, like I said. So I don't know, that could be the case. This one is from Beauty Pie. It is their Pro Glow Illuminating Highlighter in the shade Knockout Gold. This is so good. It's become one of my favorites. I tried it back probably in like October, November, and I just fell in love with the formula. It is so pretty on the cheeks. It looks a little bit more natural on my skin, but you can build it up to be pretty intense if you use more of a dense brush. And I just think the color is pretty. It almost blends into my skin tone, which is what I love because it doesn't look like I'm wearing like a stripe of a different color of highlighter. It almost looks like my skin is glowing when I wear it. I have two highlighters from Milani. So I have this one. This one is their Power Up Highlighter Duo. It is a cream and powder duo. So one side is cream, one side is powder. I don't know why, but I never really fell in love with this. It just didn't work that well for me. It didn't look that great on my skin, which is weird because I do like the next highlighter I'm going to share with you. So I think I'm going to declutter this. I just don't end up reaching for it. I am going to keep this one. This is the Milani Baked Highlighter in the shade Champagne Dioro. This is so pretty. This impressed me because when I first swatched it, it felt kind of dry and I just felt like it was going to look really chalky on the skin, but it doesn't. It looks so good. I would say it's not a dupe for Becca's highlighters, but it does look similar on the cheeks. It definitely feels more dry when you swatch it. It's not quite as creamy, but it comes close. It looks really similar and gives your cheeks just a really pretty glow. So I am going to keep this one. Okay, I think it is finally time to part with these. I don't typically hang on to makeup for packaging, and I try not to buy makeup based on packaging, but these have stayed in my collection because I loved the packaging and I loved the formulas. I thought that Smashbox made some of the most beautiful makeup when they did these collections. This one was part of the Smashbox Vlada collection. It was like this rose gold themed collection that was so pretty, and this highlighter is gorgeous. I used to wear this all the time because it looked very natural on the skin, but I have not reached for it over the past year. I wouldn't say that it's expired because, again, a lot of powder products will actually last for years. They don't expire as quickly as liquids or creams. They can expire, so it's important to kind of see what the texture is like, the scent, the color, but I just don't reach for it any longer. I feel like I've discovered other formulas I like a little bit better. I wish this product was still available so other people could have it, and they had other pretty collections or other pretty colors in the collection, but for me, I just haven't worn it, and I feel like at this point, I am hanging on to it because of the packaging. I just like to look at it. There's nothing wrong with that, but honestly, I'm at this point in my life where I just need to kind of cut down and get rid of products I'm not using. I want to be able to fit everything in one drawer. So I am going to part with this. I'm sad. I got a lot of use out of it. It's beautiful, but I just don't have a purpose for it any longer. Same with this one. I thought this collection was so pretty. Like, look at this highlighter. Why doesn't Smashbox do collections like this anymore? I'm sure the packaging was more expensive to manufacture compared to, you know, more plain packaging, but this is so pretty. It was a collaboration with the Hood Witch, and this is such a pretty highlighter. It kind of has like a pink shift, but I do have a couple of other highlighters in my collection that are a little bit more pink toned that I tend to reach for over this. So actually, having used this in a while, I do feel like this formula has maybe expired because it's very dry. This is probably one of the oldest highlighters in my collection, and I got a lot of use out of it. It's the type of highlighter where you could use it over and over and it would barely make a dent in the pan. But the last few times I used it, because I always use a pink highlighter when I do like a pink eye makeup look, it just felt very dry and I wasn't getting the same effect. So I think it's time to part with this as well. I don't want to keep it just based on the packaging because that doesn't make sense for me personally. It just takes up space. So sadly, it's time to declutter it. I loved it. I got a lot of use out of it, but I just no longer need it. The last highlighter in this section is the LYS Beauty Aim High Pressed Highlighter, and I have the shade Brave. And I really enjoy this. It is a somewhat newer highlighter to my collection. I can't remember when I picked this up, maybe in the fall. It's really pretty. It's definitely an intense highlighter, as you can see. I don't buy a lot of super intense highlighters. Honestly, I thought it was going to be a little bit more subtle, so it's not something I wear like every single day. But again, on days when I do want a more vibrant highlighter, I reach for this one. This one is more gold, and the Catrice one that's super intense is definitely more like cool toned and slightly pink. So that's why I have both of them. But If you want really vibrant highlighters, I recommend checking out this line. Okay, so I'm off to a pretty good start so far. I'm hoping to be able to fit like the majority of my other highlighters in this section. So let me just see what else I have. I have these Becca highlighters, and unfortunately Becca is no longer in business. You can still get Champagne Pop, which is good to know. I've had mine for a long time. It's still good. I did purchase a backup because originally I did not know that Champagne Pop would be available, and I wanted to make sure I had it, but I'm still working on this one. This is like the most I've ever used a highlighter. I hit pan on it. I feel like eventually I could probably use it up as long as it stays good. But I just love Champagne Pop. It's still my #1 highlighter of all time. And then I also have Opal. Opal is no longer around, so I will be so sad once I have to get rid of this one, but mine is still good. I'm still using it fairly often, so I'm going to keep this one in my collection too. One of the pink highlighters that I've really been enjoying is this one from About Face, which is Halsey's makeup brand. This is the Light Lock Powder in the shade Smother. So I will say the Smashbox formula was probably a little bit better than this one. This one, it has a little bit of a dry feel to it. You can almost see it in the pan. I won't say that it looks dry on the skin, but it doesn't look quite as smooth as a few other formulas that I've tried. But the color is so pretty, which is why I like to keep it. I just think there's something so pretty about like a pinky purple highlight that, you know, I don't have a lot of in my collection. It's really unique. So I'm going to hang on to this one. I do have two of these ColourPop Super Shock highlighters. I have the shade Wisp, which is a really pretty kind of like gold color. This one is still good. Sometimes the Super Shock products will dry out, but mine are still good, at least since I've used them last. My pug is in here. She's snoring very loudly. I don't know if you'll hear it. I always just like to make that disclaimer because sometimes people hear it and they're like, what is that noise? It is just my pug. She's sleeping. And then this one is Lunch Money. I actually repurchased this one because my other one had gotten really old and dried out. So I am going to keep this one. This one was like in the back of my drawer when I pulled these products out. So I need to put it in my everyday makeup drawer so I can get a lot of use out of it. Let's switch gears and talk about some bronzers because I feel like pretty much the rest of my drawer is highlighters or like face palettes. But let's do a couple of bronzers. So I actually don't have a ton of bronzers in my collection right now. I have 4 cream bronzers. I have the Persona Cosmetics bronzer. I'm not actually sure where that is. It's in my room somewhere. I tried to round up all of my highlighters and bronzers for this video, but we are in the process of moving. And I think by the time this video goes up, we will already be in our new house. But I feel like because of that, my makeup is just, some of it's packed, some of it isn't. So I think I have most of the products in here, but I have the Persona cream bronzer, and then these are my other cream bronzers. So this one's from Makeup by Mario. There is a brush on one side. I never use the brush. I feel like I should because it's on there, and it's nice to have. The brush itself is good. I don't love like this design. It kind of has like some uneven bristles. I wish it was just like a flat brush, but I feel like that would be good for on the go. But I typically just use a brush that I have on hand. And then this is what the bronzer looks like. I rolled it up too far and then put the cap on it, which is why it looks like that on top. But the actual formula is so good. It stays in place extremely well. If you want a long-lasting cream bronzer, this is the one to try. Also, I have used this so many times and it looks like I've barely made a dent in it, so you get a lot of product in here. I have this mini Milk Makeup bronzer. This is in the shade Baked. I'm not sure how many shades they have of this, but I got this mini one time at Sephora and it's really nice. I actually love the size of this because I feel like sometimes bronzer sticks can be so big, and this one is small, which I feel like is enough product for me, but also if you're someone who likes to apply bronzer in very specific areas, like maybe your nose, or, you know, I don't know, like your eyes, if you're just applying it to the crease, this is a perfect size. So I do like this. And then I have 2 of the e.l.f. Putty bronzers. The one that I typically wear is this one. It's in the color Tan Lines, and it's more of a warm toned bronzer, which is what I do prefer. So I usually reach for this one. I don't really use this other color, so I think I might declutter it. This one is called Feelin' Shady. When I ordered them, I wasn't sure which one would work well for me. If you like more of like a cool toned contour shade, I think you might prefer this. But when it comes to bronzer, when it comes to that, I don't typically contour, and I feel like this is a little bit too cool as an actual bronzer on my skin tone. So I think I will actually declutter Feelin' Shady just because when I wear this, I pretty much always wear tan lines. I have this bronzer from e.l.f. as well. This is their primer infused bronzer in the shade Forever Sunkissed. I actually think mine expired. This is so weird because I was just talking about how I usually catch expired makeup, but This is something that I love. I use all the time. And I was kind of trying out some different bronzer formulas over the past year. And when I went back to this one, it just did not apply the same. I feel like the color fades so quickly, and that never used to happen. I've had this for years. So, you know, makeup does expire at some point, and I feel like now when I wear it, it wears off really fast. So unfortunately, it is time to declutter this one. This was such a good alternative to the Balm's Take Home the Bronze, which was recently discontinued. I just finished that one up, and now I'm looking for another dupe because that one is no longer available. I feel like a lot of my favorite bronzers get discontinued because I'm not a big bronzer person. I don't love buying a ton of different bronzers, but I will say I tried this one during the summertime and I really like it. It is the NYX Matte Bronzer. So I have the shade medium. When I went to purchase this, they didn't have light, and I felt like maybe I could get medium to work for me, and it did work because I purchased it during the summertime, but it's a little bit too dark for me right now. So I think I'll keep medium, hang on to it because I love this formula. It's very similar to the e.l.f. formula, really blendable, super pigmented though. So that's why I'm not wearing medium right now. I think I will purchase light and then see how that one works, and then maybe I'll declutter this one and pass it along to one of my sisters if light works well for me. We'll see. But in the meantime, I do like medium. I want to hang on to it because summer will be here, hopefully before we know it. This is the Flower Beauty Heat Wave Luminous Bronzer. I have the shade Sunswept. This is so pretty on the skin. I love using these as like bronzer blush hybrids. I mean, it's not like your typical blush color, but they look so, or no, wait, this is the warm toned one. I have a cooler toned one as well, which is not in my drawer either. And I apologize because I like to give you a full look at my collection, but again, we're in the process of moving. So you know what, this one's probably my makeup bag. Where's that? Okay, I just found the other one. It's in a makeup bag that I have like some of my daily staples in. This one is in the shade Sunrise, and then the warm toned one is in the shade Sunswept. I actually prefer Sunrise. Sunswept is pretty, but Sunrise is like the perfect blush bronzer hybrid. That's what I meant, because this one is a little bit more cool toned. On the skin, it doesn't look quite this cool toned. It kind of gives your skin like the most beautiful rosy bronze, whereas the other one is just very orangey. So for me, I feel like this is the shade that I prefer. I wear it all the time. So I'm going to hang on to this one and declutter the warm toned one. I do have two bronzers from Milani, so I'm going to keep the baked bronzer. So let's start with that one. This is so pretty on the skin. You know, it's kind of similar to that Flower Beauty bronzer I had, so that's good I decluttered that one because I feel like the colors are similar, but I actually like this one a little bit better. And I think it's because I do prefer the Milani Baked Bronzer formula compared to Flower Beauty. I just find that it gives your skin like a hint of a glow. I definitely wouldn't call a Flower Beauty one glowy, but this one does look a little bit glowy on the skin. I think it's really pretty as like an everyday bronzer. It's so blendable, so quick to use. So I'm going to keep this one, but I think it's time to declutter this one. It's the Milani Silky Matte Bronzer in the shade Sunkissed. So I had purchased this product a long time ago, and then I decluttered it, and then a lot of you guys recommended a different shade. This shade definitely works for my skin tone. I think it actually looks really good, but when it comes to matte bronzers, I definitely prefer the NYX formula. I also prefer the e.l.f. formula. That one just expired. I just don't reach for this one too often because I have other formulas I like. I don't know, I'm not like a big bronzer person. This is the most bronzer I've had in my collection in a long time, but I tend to use the same ones over and over. So I just feel like this one is not getting used as much just because I don't like the formula as much as I do other formulas I have. It's good, it works well, it's just not my favorite. So because of that, I'm going to declutter it. I don't know, when it comes to bronzer, I always feel like how many bronzers do I need? A lot of them end up looking very similar on the skin. I'm sure people say the same thing about like lip gloss and eyeshadow, and I'm like, I want every lip gloss and every eyeshadow, but I just don't really get into having like a ton of bronzer because I'd rather just have a couple of staples that I reach for all the time. This one is from Catrice. It's the Sungasm Luminizing Bronzer, and I have the shade Golden Ecstasy. This is so pretty. I actually don't have a lot of bronzers that look like this. It kind of has like this warm red golden undertone that looks so pretty in the summertime. This one gives your skin like a very smooth effect. So I am going to hang on to this one, but I am going to declutter this one. It's kind of newer to my collection. It's the Glowish by Huda Beauty. I have the shade Medium. I just decluttered the blush from the same line. I don't know. I thought these were going to be a little bit more glowy on the skin, kind of like a naturally luminous bronzer. And I like the bronzer better than the blush, But again, I just don't like it as much as I like other bronzers in my collection. I'm just not reaching for it very often. I feel like when I use it, my makeup looks okay, but it's not my staple formula by any means. This is not super old. I just got it a few months ago. So because of that, I'd rather declutter it and give it to my mom or one of my sisters and see if they like it, because it's pretty new. So I don't want it to just sit in my collection and then next year around this time I declutter it. I'd rather just declutter it now because I know I'm not using it as much as I would like to. This is actually one of my favorite matte bronzers too. It is the LYS No Limits Matte Bronzer. I have the shade Motivate. I didn't forget I had this one, but earlier when I was having my discussion on matte bronzers, I forgot to mention this one. This one is such a good matte bronzer. It's very pigmented, so you can build it up to look really intense on the cheeks. You can sheer it out, which is why I like this one, because whether I have a tan or not, I feel like I can wear this bronzer and it looks really good on my skin. So again, I wouldn't say this is a dupe for the Balm's Take Home the Bronze, but it's a good alternative. It's not quite as smooth as the Balm's bronzer, but it's definitely a good matte option if that's what you're looking for. Okay, I kept 5 matte bronzers and 3 cream bronzers. I feel like that is a good size for me personally. I just don't need a ton of bronzer. I don't know. What is your go-to bronzer? I feel like I've always had such a hard time finding like my staple bronzer, and then when I do, they discontinue it. So I think I'm good with those for now. So where did we leave off over here? Okay, I have this Anastasia Beverly Hills Amrezy highlighter, which is no longer available, but I am not letting go of this until it expires because I love it. It looks so good on the skin. The color and the formula are just amazing. So I'm definitely going to keep this one. This product is so gorgeous. It's from Illamasqua. It is the Beyond Powder in the shade Epic. So FabFitFun was doing a sale, and this was one of the products that they had available in a couple of different shades. It is so pretty on the skin. So I had tried this brand years ago, like back when I first started my YouTube channel. They had nail polish, and a lot of people were raving about their nail polish, and they have other products, and I'm definitely curious to try out more of them because this is one of the silkiest powders in the entire world. This shade's a little bit dark for me as like a go-to highlighter, but if I use a light hand, I feel like it does look pretty, and I'll kind of use it as like a highlighter bronzer all in one. It also looks so good as eyeshadow. It's just such a nice formula. So I'm definitely keeping this one. Actually, I'm going to put this one back over here. This is a little bit too big to fit in these containers. So these are both from Jaclyn Cosmetics. These are the, oh, they just say highlighters. So I have the shade Mesmerized. Let me see what this color is. This one is called Iced. So this one is like a golden champagne, and then Mesmerized is like a peachy gold. So I like these a lot. I won't say they've replaced the Becca highlighters for me, but they do come somewhat close. They look nice on the skin, so I am going to hang on to these. Back here, I have some bulky highlighters. I need to declutter these, and I need to not add these back to my collection. Sometimes ColourPop does highlighters in this really big packaging. I mean, this is really large for a highlighter. This one is the Barbie ColourPop Super Shock highlighter in the shade Beach Party. These are really pretty, and as much as I like some of the shades, I can't have them in my collection because they just take up so much space. Also, I have such a hard time opening this packaging for some reason. I feel like I have to open it awkwardly because I don't want to break a nail, because I have broken so many nails trying to get these open. So this is a really pretty highlighter. Again, I haven't had it for a super long time, so I'm just going to pass it along. And sometimes I'll get these in the mail as PR, so I'll test them out for a review video. I'm not going to do that any longer because I just feel like it's wasteful for me to try them, review them, and then just put them in my collection because I don't use them. They're just so big. And these, like this white thing right here is a drawer. And when I pull it out, a lot of the time, like this gets stuck because it's just so awkwardly big in my drawer. So that might seem like a weird reason to declutter something, but I just don't use them. I love this shade so much. This one is called Your Catch. It's so pretty, but like, why didn't they just put it in this packaging? That would have been so much better. I just don't need such a large highlighter. So as pretty as it is, I'm just going to declutter it, and I've learned my lesson. I will not be buying any of these larger highlighters again. They do have some smaller ones. Like, look at the size difference. I still don't love this plastic packaging, but this size is just a lot more practical. So this is the Soul Body highlighter in the shade Pink Truffle. And then I think these are kind of similar because I was going through a pink highlighter phase. This one is Soft Pink. Soft Pink is lighter. I am going to keep Soft Pink because that works really well for my skin tone, but I'm going to declutter Pink Truffle. I just don't reach for it as much because I do have Soft Pink, and I feel like this is such a pretty color. I need to put this in my everyday makeup drawer so I use it a little bit more. Another bulky product that I think I just have to declutter is the Makeup Revolution Ultra Glow Highlighter in the shade Soft Glam. I did not know that this was so big when I ordered it online. It is a very big highlighter. The packaging is giant, which that might appeal to you. I don't go through highlighter that quickly. So for me, I just don't need something so big. I think it looks pretty. It looks a little bit more luxurious, and the formula is nice. It looks pretty on the skin, but I definitely have other highlighters that are very similar to this one. So I'm going to pass this product along too. I have two other products back here. So I have the Flower Beauty Shimmer and Strobe Highlighting Palette. I recently got a new one. I had my other one for years and I loved it so much. The new one is exactly the same. The formula hasn't changed. It's so pretty on the skin, and I love these three colors. I love to mix them. I love to wear them on their own, so I'm going to keep this one. And then I also got this face palette. It's the Cali Queen Face Palette. So it comes with a bronzer, two blushes, and a highlighter. I really like this formula. I think it's very blendable, really smooth, so I am going to hang on to this one too. Okay, let me just condense this a little bit. Oh, I just realized I didn't go over these two products. So I have these containers in my drawer. These are from, I got them from Look years ago, and they're really nice for like these bigger packaging, this bigger packaging that doesn't fit as well in another spot. But like I said, I want to combine my highlighters and my blushes, so I might have to move things around when I do end up reorganizing. This one's from e.l.f. It is one of their face duos in coconut. I'm going to keep this one because I got rid of my other e.l.f. bronzer, sadly, but I really like this. The bronzer is just a little bit deep for me during the winter time. During the summer, I can usually make it work, but I also love using this as eyeshadow. I feel like that would be so perfect for traveling too. And then this is kind of new to me. It's the Flower Beauty Stellar Prismatic Highlighter. This is so interesting. I don't have anything like this. It's really unique. I think it looks so pretty on the eyes and on the cheeks too. And I just kind of like it. I feel like it's something a little bit different. It kind of looks like it's going to look maybe like a little textured on the cheeks, but that's not the case. It does have like these really pretty gold flakes in it, and I just think it's fun to play with. So I'm going to keep this one too. I am going to declutter this. It's the Soul Body Face and Body Bronzer. I have the shade Fair. My mom loves this product. She swears by it, so I'm actually going to give this to her. I'm sure she'll enjoy it. I just don't use it. I don't like a lot of like liquid or body makeup, but this is like a liquid bronzer, which is really nice in theory because if you just want to bronze certain parts of your skin, this is nice. It's not completely transfer proof, but it does stay in place pretty well. So it's a good product. I personally don't use it, so it's time to declutter it. I have a couple of other larger products. The difference is these are actual palettes, so they come with more than one product compared to those like ridiculous Soul Body highlighters that just come with one. I have this bronzer palette from Essence, which is amazing. It comes with 4 different bronzers. I will be completely honest and say I completely forgot about this because it was way back in like the back of my drawer. So now that I've decluttered and kind of reevaluated my makeup collection, it will be really nice to have this because the formula is so good. This is like $10 and you get 4 really nice bronzers. I also have the Pure Nude highlighter palette, which is interesting because I decluttered the Pure Nude highlighter, but this formula is different. These are a little bit more creamy on the skin. They don't look that nice in the pan. Like, don't they look dry in the pan? They don't look like that on the skin though. They look really smooth. I definitely like this highlighter palette, so I'm going to keep this one too. The last palette is this one. It is the Pixie and Makeup by Denise palette. I love this. I think I talked about this in like my August or September favorites video. I just think it's so pretty. And I use these as highlighters, eyeshadows, blushes. It's definitely an interesting texture. It's kind of like a little bit thicker or heavier than other highlighters I have, but I really like it. It's almost more of a dry formula, which is not something I typically reach for, but I just think they look so pretty on the cheeks. I like having a range of colors to choose from. I wish it was a little bit smaller, like almost like an eyeshadow palette size, but I do think it's kind of nice because you can use a large fluffy brush if that's something you want to do. These are all of the products that I am decluttering. I actually have 15 products in here. So when I started, I think I had right around 45 and I was maybe missing just like 1 or 2. So I feel like I was able to declutter about a third of my bronzer and highlighter collection, which is more than I thought I was going to. Honestly, I didn't set a number, but I feel like I'm happy with that. I do think at this point I'll be able to put all of the products back in one drawer which is good. A lot of these formulas are nice. I mean, some of them aren't great, like this glowish one, but some of them are nice, like the Flower Beauty one, the Makeup Revolution one, the ColourPop ones, but I just don't wear those shades as much as other products I already own. When I have shades in my collection I'm not wearing, it just clutters everything up. So when I open up the drawer, now I just have shades and products I know that I love, and I was able to declutter shades and products I'm not using, and I can pass them along to someone else. So I am definitely happy with this declutter. I need to do lip products, my eyeshadow palettes, so stay tuned because those will be coming soon. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'll see you guys very soon with a new video. Bye.